What's up everybody, Tom here with another video. In today's video, we'll be discussing the latest news to do with the stock market right now, including our technical analysis levels for the S&P 500, Nasdaq, Bitcoin, dollar index, Tesla, GME and more. It's been a wild week of trading in the stock market so far, but did we just find support on the Nasdaq that's showing us the key for a new recovery? Double bottom time? Stay tuned. All right, guys, well, let's get straight into actually what happened in the markets yesterday. And that was that we saw a decline in the Nasdaq after a very strong day the day before. This is pretty normal, and it actually held a little bit better. The Nasdaq started strong, over 1% in the retail first 1 hour of trade, and then did decline and settle throughout the trading session. On the flip side, we saw the SPX, being the S&P 500, Dow Jones and Russell 2000 actually have quite strong performance days, with the Russell almost being up 2.5% at some points throughout the session. If we go over to the indices and the sectors here, we'll see that technology was the declining sector, energy back in favor, and same with financials. Look, we're still in probably around month 5 of the 6-month recovery for these, so it must be getting close now for financials to be topping out, but it's not just quite yet. I still believe that energy has some more time, and then we'll see the standard rotation where healthcare, industrials, other sectors become more popular in the markets again. You'll notice that some healthcare is not doing so well in the markets. Let's now take a look at our technical analysis and get stuck into it straight away, as there's a lot to cover in today's session. We've got the volatility index here, the VIX, and it's sitting at a 22.6. So volatility really has come out of the market. We've seen a decline there as the stock market has recovered a little bit. The S&P 500 is hitting critical resistance at the 3900. We'll take a look at that soon. So it makes sense that the volatility is decreasing. Does that mean that everything's all good, all green, and it's going up? Not just yet. We need a little bit more confirmation before we can really say that. And it's also about this dollar index. So if we take a look here at the US dollar index, we know that last week it broke, it closed above this level here, which is the 9160, and it found a new zone. Now, traditionally, it usually has a bit of a cooling period. That's what we've seen so far. We've had a cool off period with the dollar index weakening through the first couple of days of trading sessions. But if it continues to come down, let's say it goes back to the 9160, we would expect that to be some form of support, as there was previous resistance, and it will also be hitting a weekly 20 exponential moving average. At that point, if the bulls regain control, they push it towards the 93 and possibly 94 areas. Take a look at the weekly here together. We've talked about this quite a lot. The trend line has been broken through. That's bullish. The 20 exponential moving average, something that held as dynamic resistance, got closed above. That's bullish. So it really comes to this point being the critical area, 9160. And if that's reached by the market today, it would be a point where I would think the dollar index finds some bullish support. And we'll continue to watch the session throughout these videos and our live sessions into the market opens. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, what's it been doing? Well, firstly, it closed above significant levels. 55,000 was breached yesterday in the trading session. Then it moved upwards of the 57,400. Pretty much another level of small resistance over here. And we have our topping area at 58,245. Now, if Bitcoin starts to create structure up here, and what I mean by that is it starts to correlate and kind of sit there in a range, that's actually going to be very bullish for Bitcoin. And I mean explosive moves after that. The longer it coils just below previous highs, we know that when it gets to that high and it breaks out, it not only hits a new high, it absolutely goes crazy. So what I'm looking for Bitcoin now is actually a little bit of a slowdown, more of a recovery where it sits there and it trades in a range, and it allows things like the 20 moving average here on the 4 hour, which has been a little bit of dynamic support, to reach it and for it to coil underneath. I don't really necessarily want it to just go explosive, because as soon as it goes crazy, we all like that, yes. But what happens? It's not sustained, and we open ourselves to flash crashes, which are not ideal, and no one wants to really go back through another 30% decline in a coin if we can help it. So Bitcoin declining back down here. I expect it to get to 55,000. If it does, hopefully it finds some support. And the 20 moving average on the 4 hour will start to move up and find hopefully some support pressure as well. The longer it coils underneath the 58, the better it is if it does explode out in the future. Now, at the same time as we've got Bitcoin finding some level of resistance and starting to coil, we've actually had a decent move up here for gold, and gold hit our perfect support. 1676 was reached. We take a look at that several times on the channel. It was a beautiful level, and again, congratulations to everyone that correctly analyzed this. As a community, we had the bullish movement here previously in March. We had the support buying that happened in June and May. And then we had again a level where if you were short, it would be a perfect zone to take some profit off. Now in the stream yesterday, we were talking about this little flag set up here, and I'll just quickly draw it for you. We have the little flag. We did see some movement aggressively up here. And as long as the dollar index can remain being slightly bearish, this gold could move through. Now I talk a lot about proofing in the market. So when you're proofing a system, you usually want to see whether the pattern goes into another point of support or resistance. It's really important that happens. And look at this, guys, 1760, perfect. That's actually an awesome looking pattern. Now, if you talk about patterns and they always proof, Boeing has one, other things have patterns that proof all the time, it's a positive sign that you're correctly reading the market. So look for proofing whenever possible. And for now, it looks like gold is starting to find some bullish momentum. 1760 is going to be a really tough zone if it does get up there. And you've got to watch really the 1740 and 1760 zones. Both of those could act as some really big resistance. And whatever the dollar index does will affect gold and silver quite a lot. Take a look at silver. Silver continues its move up. It hasn't quite hit our trend line yet. So this is the trend line that we were finding support on. Now we expect that to be a resistance zone. We have a 20-50 exponential moving average on the daily here. This is one of the most important double cross movovers that you can get, the 20 and the 50. And it usually, when they're close to each other, acts as dynamic resistance or support. So in this case, it would be dynamic resistance. We would find sellers here and potentially move back down. So be careful on silver. It's getting to a critical resistance level, and I would be waiting to see more if I was bullish on this, because I would want it to close back above and get back into above the trend line. That's what we want to see from the silver bulls. GME and AMC, I'm sure many of you have been very hyped and excited about this. I just wanted to show again the importance of key technical levels when it comes to trading anything and how they work so well. So this is not changed from the stream yesterday. Anyone that was looking at our stream would know that we had $350 as our target for GME. And for AMC, we had $12. And we've been pretty correct about this. It's been trading very technically as it moves up. Now, I'm concerned about what happened in the close yesterday. I think that was very bearish actually for both of these pairs, because people were getting out at critical levels. And these were my targets, pretty much my final targets on both pairs. AMC had a $16 as the next zone, but that's pretty ambitious. But $12 was reached early in the session. We breached it, unable to really close above even on the 15-minute chart here, and then we moved down. It just shows that when you're trading these kind of very gamblery positions, you've got to be very, very careful, and you've got to have hard set fast targets. Now, would I set $12? No. I would set slightly underneath. Never be too greedy, and you're about to see why with the GME situation. Yesterday we had $350 as our target for GME. Now, why again was that? Go back in the history, you'll notice there was a lot of wick pressure. When it busted down, it started selling off. What happened? It bounced straight up into 350, sold off again. Bounced straight up into 350, sold off again. So what are we going to do as traders? We're going to be smart about this. We're going to take profit slightly before, and take a look at this. That's what people were doing. 348.78. Maybe it spiked up. I'm not sure. But on this chart, I'm seeing here 348. For me, I would be going about a 345. I would have been out. Goodbye. See ya. That's just the way that I would have looked at this, because this is an amazing return. And again, it's pretty phenomenal that it went back from $40 and is squeezed again to this level. We take a look at the daily here on the close. The reason I'm concerned is we're getting back into some serious volatility each way. And this usually means when you have like a 20% drop or something like that after having so much bullishness, that we're turning into what we saw here on the left-hand side. And it has me concerned that we may be in the blow-off phase of the squeeze. Many people are still going to be bullish, I'm sure, but it's just the type of volatility that I don't like to see during these sessions. And last time it didn't bode well. So we'll have to maintain and have a look at what the session opens like tonight, what the session opens like the next day, and whether it can hold some kind of momentum. At the moment, it's indecisive or doesn't have any kind of direction at these current levels. Let's go and take a look at Tesla. So the good news for Tesla bulls is we held above the critical level. We had where ARK firstly purchased here. Here's the 4-hour chart. This is where ARK was purchasing up. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, ARK's getting in. Let's get in. All in on Tesla. And then we had the second support that was found in exactly the same area. That then becomes a critical area. It's about the 660 that we want to clear above. And we did just close. We opened above, hit the 720 resistance, which we thought might be happening. And if we actually cleared this level, I believe that this clear would have set us up for an 800 level. So all hope is not lost on Tesla. It's moved back down and it's testing from the top down into the support. So what was once support became resistance, and now it's testing it as support again. If buyers are found in tomorrow's session, we could move back up to the 720. And once we clear that, I think that we've got some strong movements that can get up into the 800. So Tesla's looking more bullish actually to me than it has been. You don't want to see a rocket ship to the moon, because while you do, it usually is accompanied by a bust down into hell, because it's not going to be a very good level. And that is what does happen in the markets. If it goes up too fast, what goes up too fast comes down pretty damn fast. And that's what we don't want in Tesla. Ideally, 20% was beautiful. Nice increase yesterday, followed by some sell-off, but it held above the 20 exponential moving average here, and more importantly, the 660 zone. Let's now take a look at the US 100. So this is the Nasdaq. We've got the futures here. They're trading at 12,737. Previous resistance is becoming support. This is again very similar to the Tesla chart. What happened here was we've basically got a double bottom on the futures and a double bottom on QQQ that is acting as a level where we now think that if we can get that bullish movement, especially if we close above 13,000 now, where do we go? 13,250. This is about a 325 on the QQQ. One of the things I like most about this trade is when you look at QQQ and you actually take the distance of the double bottom. So we'll go down to a 2-hour here. You'll notice you get the distance, which is from the low to the peak. You extrapolate that out, and what that's going to bring for you is the previous highs, that 324, 325 zone. It's always great when you can proof something in the market. So yesterday's hold above this level is still bullish. I would have preferred that it held a little bit more green, but it makes sense that it closes at the 310. Previous supports here. Here's the support, here's the support, acted as resistance. It closed above on a relatively good time frame, and then it's testing from the top down. So this is where it must go green and move up. Takes out the last highs, move to the 324. Double bottom is in play now for the Nasdaq, and I do hope that it holds here because the correction was pretty good on the tech stocks. I'm sure a lot of you were hoping that this thing was over because some of those stocks were moving down about 40 to 50% declines, and no one really likes those kind of declines. Even on hypergrowth stocks, it can be quite painful to hold through those sessions. Onto the US 500, what's happening here? Well, it continues to battle with the 3900 zone. I would say it's better to always look at the SPX. So we take a look at the SPX, we go down into the daily. This is the SPY, the real market, and the real trading volume. Go down to the 1 hour, and you'll instantly see a lot of resistance around this 3900, 3910. Now, if we close above the 3900, which you'll notice yesterday we did not, we closed at 3898, then we can expose the 3930 zone, which is over here. We get past that, 4,000. I really mean that it is going to go up 70 points plus, because look at our trend line. This is the trend line that's held so well for us. It's been one of the best sell zones for traders. It's been one of the best early indicators to get out of the market. And if we get this, we are looking at some serious bullish movement on the markets. 3930 is one of the last resistance points that's really going to hold this market back. So it's make or break for the bulls and the bears. 3900, then 3930. On the downside, some would say that there's 3860 is a level that you're looking at, which is around here. I tend to think on the real market, it's just all the way back down to 3810, 3820. So if it can't hold 3900 and it's trading in this range, The next big major support for the bulls getting back in would be 38.20. And until we see that, it's just really at resistance at a point where it's hard to buy here, but it also is hard to necessarily sell here when you're seeing what you're seeing from the double bottom on the Nasdaq. So it's clear that there's a lot of indecision going on between the tech and the older stocks, the financials, the energy stocks. But from what I'm seeing on the Nasdaq, things are starting to look better. They're not as dire as they were the other day, and there could be a turnaround coming. If you enjoy this video, please make sure to subscribe, hit that alert button as well, and give us a like if you enjoyed as well. Come and join us, live stream every market session. We're doing Thursday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thousands of people coming out to check those sessions out, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Bye for now, guys. See you in the next video.